Bags in your pocket so you don't blow over. How are you? Oh, not so good.
I'm good.
Oh.
I was just not here. I had a day off today.
No bummer.
Oh, that's
Well, I went by this.
Yeah.
day off
So
from
did
school.
teachers have to go, but no students today?
Both.
Because
Oh, presents. Yeah.
Lucia Elementary.
Oh, that was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Today's parent teacher conference, but they let us do all our conferences and so we could get the day off ahead of time.
Oh,
So I did them all before today and I got the day off.
good for you. And now you're working again.
Working here.
No rest for the wicked, you know.
Hey, how are you?
I was cleaning
Good.
my bathroom and I
All right.
just something.
Well, teacher later.
Exactly. I've never had back problems, so I
Oh, I do. I just went to a chiropractor. I got started some scoliosis. It's up here and 8-week regimen at a time.
Witness 1, 2, and 3.
So what do you think of the hair? I do, but I was very scary.
Oh, at first I was like, I could see it from there because of the there's not very much light. Then you walked in here and I said, "Is that
Are all the dust?
It's Lori."
Well, it's my transition to gray process.
Oh, from the dust?
And
Allergies too?
you're at my age yet.
Well, I hope I lived enough to be doing that because my son's like,
Oh, yeah.
and my hair.
Looks like the windstorms are a little bit earlier this year.
No.
So yeah.
We went, I remember on vacation getting the pictures back and I was like, oh, I knew I had some streaks, but not that bad.
But that's great.
But I'm so tired of it. It's like a 3-hour process. And then let this grow out a little bit and then they'll foil it again. But it's kind of hard on your hair.
Everybody in the movie. You know who this goes like this. That could be close on. Yeah. Sure.
Test. YouTube thing to work.
They're working out some mariachis.
Yeah. You're sitting outside. Well, that's good.
Questions, but we can't
But that was.
I asked my preacher. No one coming through the cell phone. His brother was worse. But that's the best I
Yeah, let's see.
Come on, yeah.
Oh, this is.
Trying to get Nelson. I said he's loading trucks.
These on?
It should be on, yeah. You just gotta get close to it.
Oh, you can?
Can you hear me?
Does it sound like it coming? Okay. All right.
It's all right. Just hold the rest of it. She's been working hard on her. Oh, my
Oh, no.
We used to have real short, that's an emergency. Those Rick all in. Big message.
Okay, I'd like to convene the Planning, Zoning, and Historical Appropriateness Commission meeting for it's Tuesday, February 17th, about 5 o'clock, a little after 5. And this is for a hearing. There's 3 items in the hearing if you see the agenda. And but before we get started, let's get up and give a pledge of allegiance, if you will.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coming. As you noticed on the agenda, there's 3 hearing items, number 1, 2, and 3. And number 1, as you can see, is for modifications or amendments to the Mesilla Town Code for 18.65, which is about signs in all sections of the town. So, and then hearing 2 is, again, amendments to the code for height of walls, specifically for University Road. And then number 3 is we have 3 nominations for historic, getting these buildings on historic register. So normally in a hearing, we have to swear people in that are going to get up and discuss it. But I think this to be in more in order, if you don't have any comments on hearing one, which is about signs, and Eddie's going to talk about, Mr. Salazar is going to talk about what that entails. And then if you stand up and you want to give a comment on that hearing, then I'll go ahead and have to swear you guys in because it's a quasi judicial process. And we'll do the same thing on the other two items. So I think, Mr. Salazar, you're going to go ahead and go through
Yes, sir.
one at a time.
Mr. Chair, yes.
Hearing for one. Okay.
All right, Mr. Chair, thank you. Commissioners, public. The very first thing I would like to do is establish quorum. If I could make sure everybody, all the commissioners is here. Vice Chair Gallegos,
Present.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Alviar,
Present.
Commissioner Mulvihill,
Present.
Mr. Chair Walkinshaw,
Present.
Commissioner Lucero, and Commissioner Paz. Mr. Chair, you do have quorum.
Very good. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and record that. Commissioner Paz did mention, she did send me an email that she will be about 15 minutes late due to this meeting. This hearing starting at 5. She gets off at 5, so she'll be coming right straight over down here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, as you mentioned, this is the Planning and Zoning Historical Appropriateness Commission. This is February 17th. We are having 3 hearings today. Each hearing needs to be identified or needs to be processed individually in itself. So we'll start from beginning to end on each hearing, so on each case that we hear tonight. As you mentioned, hearing number 1 will be a code amendments to the sign code. Number 2 will be code amendments being proposed for the wall, the height between the project on University and the businesses, not business, I'm sorry, the residential properties alongside of that. And number 3 will be our historic registry. Our historic local registry will be presented to you by Ms. Liana Aguirre, our historic specialist. I'll present the number 1 and number 2. Minnesota Local Registry nominated local properties. Hearing number 1 again is the provisions on general provisions on the wall, and then number 3, the Principal, 2600 Avenida de Mesilla, and 20 Snow Road. A quasi judicial hearing, just so we get a quick review on what is a quasi judicial hearing. A quasi judicial hearing is similar to a civil case or normal case, or a case you would see on TV that a judge would be presiding over, a case, right? So in your seats right now, that is your positioning you're holding right now. A process of this, or the procedures of holding a quasi judicial hearing, is a certain steps. But Mr. Chair, you are in charge of this commission, this hearing. You are at liberty, as long as we meet those certain criteria, to conduct the hearing as you wish necessary. Process on how the meeting is conducted is by Mr. Chair. Is the chairperson's discretion. Opportunity to speak, comment is determined by the chair. Again, it mentioned he is going to swear in whoever wants to speak. Everybody gets to speak. We're not holding anybody back, but this is more of the keeping control of the meeting. If there is people from the back and the public's yelling out answers or comments and stuff like that, that's something that we just need to keep to a minimum or none at all. All questions, comments need to be directed to the chair. Anyone wishing to give testimony will need to be sworn in by the chair. Speak only when it's your turn. Again, going back to preventing arguments, I guess, is to make it or say it as it is. Commissioners will hear your testimony, ask neutral and fact-finding questions. I left a little outline for you all there, right there. What exactly entitles that? Again, remember, whenever the hearing is conducted, is your purpose is to receive as much information as possible from the testimony, from myself, for anybody objecting to it and such. And they need to be fact-finding questions, neutral questions, not interrogating type questions, those types of things. So we just need to make sure that we stay on top of that. Comments and discussion should be done during action and consideration in the scheduled regular meeting. At that point, no more testimony from either party is allowed. Will be accepted unless there's circumstances that maybe a commissioner wants to clarify something, then if he asks the public or a party, hey, can you clarify this, and that? But what we don't want to get caught is a dialogue going back and forth, and that will sometimes there are disagreements that you don't really get to the bottom of it. Sometimes you have to say, I agree to disagree, and you make the best decision for the information that you have at this point. Okay, so we are starting with number one, our Mesilla Town Code 1865 signs. This is only the purpose of this is to focus on the commercial zone. We have had a couple cases in the past that we've looked at our code and it hasn't been updated. And I think the commission, we had a couple work sessions that we felt that there are some changes that could improve and benefit the community as a whole. This is just the outline. This is our actual code in itself. We're going to scroll down to the very first section, which is specific. This is on the definitions part of it, general definitions and specific, where it dictates or regulates temporary signs, right? And right now, our current code only allows 2 temporary signs per year, no longer than 15 days at a time. So a lot of times, I think when this code was proposed, what was amended or not amended, but included in our code was the opening soon sign under new management sign, those big signs that were out there. A lot of our code, or this section of our code, is supposed to be for cover all of our zones, but it looks like it's really directed at the plaza area, the historic commercial area. So it talks very little bit or regulates a little bit outside of our historic commercial, but this is for a temporary signs. And again, what is considered a sign? We talked about that numerous times in numerous cases. What is considered a sign? And we needed to outline that. So we decided as a commission that the 2 was not quite enough, because if you want to identify signs such as the feather flags that wants to attract attention, that are temporary for maybe around 4th of July or any kind of holidays, or even events, Cinco de Mayo, those kinds of things. I've had some calls that the residents of businesses want to have signage up there, special 50%, those kind of things. And there's a lot more than just 2 a year, right? And sometimes we want to help them bring some of their businesses to themselves. Again, not just that, but also some of the feather flags and advertising flags. So again, this is just on the definition itself. We changed it from 2 to 4. On the same section, under definitions, I included section H, gas pump island signs. This is going to be under again the definitions, the purpose of chapter, and it goes general. It says definition 1865.050, and where it says H, it says gas pump sign island signs, a small sign located on or immediately adjacent to the fuel pump island that provides information directly related to the operations of the fuel pumps on the scale of the fuel pumps, or the sale of fuel at the specific island. Again, this was added on specifically because we do have a convenience store, and our currently code allows only 2 signs per property. And I think it wasn't reasonable for a convenience store / fuel or gas station to only be allowed 2 signs, correct? And then you scroll down a little bit more. This will be exceptions, all right? 1865.070 under exceptions. You will, letter P was the very last one. Again, exceptions. I did put under gas pump island signs that shouldn't be included in the requirement of or regulations of only having 2 signs. That just should be an exception from the code, but that would allow the gas convenience store to still be able to have their 2 signs minus the gas pump island, or however, I don't remember exactly how I worded it. This is something similar that City of Las Cruces has on their ordinance, and I really liked it, so I kind of stole it from them, and I hope the commission and the public agrees. And then you go down to 1865-090, permit issued if application is in order. The specifically for this part is why we started or we consider to have this hearing. Basically, what this is we know that under the sign ordinance and just about any ordinance, there are extraordinary circumstances that I call, but it's something that's justifiable that it's not in our code that I think the commission should hear and consider some of the requests from our applicants, right? We can't net and capture every single thing, so there's got to be a disclosure in here somewhere where it says that you will be considered as long as your request is justifiable to the commission and to MESIA. And what it reads is when the proposed sign is in compliance with all the requirements of these guidelines and all other laws and ordinances of the town, the permit may be issued administratively by the duty authorized representative for the repair and maintenance of existing signs, temporary signs, or sandwich board signs, and may be issued following the recommendation of the Planning, Zoning, Historical Appropriateness Commission and approval of the Board of Trustees for all other signs that are in compliance with the requirements of these guidelines and all other laws and ordinances of the town. Now, in the blue is where we add everything in black has already been in our code. The blue is what we are recommending to add is the Planning and Zoning Historical Appropriateness Commission reserves the right to consider the request upon any justifiable circumstances where regulations of this title are not mentioned. Again, specifically for anything out of the ordinary. Then you will go down 1865-100 permit fees. We do have a permit fee right now of $2 per square foot. I don't know how long that's been there, but $2 per square foot doesn't quite cover it. So $5 per square foot is what's being proposed. The maximum fee for any sign shall be $50. We're also redacting that from our ordinances again, because there are some case by case that somebody might want a much bigger sign than is being mentioned tonight. Again, we are looking at the section with what I mentioned before, temporary signs. A business may have a temporary sign for a period of 15 days. The temporary sign shall be no larger than 15 square feet in each area. Each business may have up to, again, redacted the 2 and went to 4 temporary signs and twice per year. Go down to sandwich board or A-frame signs. The reason why this one here is I feel is in order is because it was mentioned in our code, section B there, sandwich board signs will be allowed for 3-month trial period upon approval of the ordinance codified in this section by the Board of Trustees. And I think there's something that was just unfinished business that they didn't quite get back to it. So we want to include this on there. And this, we are adding to that is on that section A, only 1 sandwich sign is allowed per business and must be on its property. Sign shall not cause any obstruction on pathways and sidewalks. Wall signs, 1865.140, section A2. Within the commercial zone, the wall sign area of any on any given house, we were strike through any given house. We added commercial building shall be in no case exceed 1 square foot of premises, 1 square foot of premises signage for each 1.5 linear feet of exterior wall and is permitted. The sign shall be placed on the side of the building used to calculate the square footage and on the sides. Well, basically what that is linear feet is, obviously from here to there, and then 1.5 amount is allowed as far as the square footage and the signage. You can't really go off of square footage on the wall, is depending on the height, and there's just a lot of variables. There's just too many variables, and I think, again, this is something another municipality had, and I think they've been doing it for a lot longer than we have, and I think that was a good example to follow. Where was I? Okay, so sign, and then we redacted the 10% of any wall area, including apertures of 35, I can't really square feet, whichever is less. We struck that out of our code because, again, we added the portion on there as far as exactly. And then we're gonna think to scroll down. I believe that was all we had on that hearing. I do stand by for any questions.
Commissioners have questions? I think
Okay.
this would be the time if anyone in the
Correct.
audience wants to comment on that code changes. We appreciate you getting up and you'll be sworn in since it's a quasi judicial hearing. I'm not going to have you repeat the whole thing, okay? But I'm going to read it. You solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony that you have about this given commissioner, to the given commission is in a matter of and shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of your ability. So help you God. Do you agree?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. And state your name and address. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Mary Helen Taylor Raichi, and I am at 2231 Calle de Santiago. And my comment is on the sandwich signs. I walk my dog all the time, and I go down Calle de Principal, and there are two sandwich signs there. One of them is in the dirt part. One of them is right in front of the bar part, sorry, which is blocking, to me, it's blocking the walkway. And then as I walk around the block, coming back on Calle de Guadalupe, there are a number of sandwich signs, one more for the same property. So there are three sandwich signs for that property. And then there are two other signs for little sandwich signs for the commercial properties. And I know that if you're away from the plaza, people are more, they don't see the businesses as easily. I get that. But one of them has block letters, and they're not real attractive signs for Messias. So I'm just hoping we can get that clarified and maintained where somebody is really watching out for what's going on with those sandwich signs. And I'm only talking about that one block. I'm not talking about the rest of the square. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. So we're going to go through the.
Chris Alexander for the record.
Okay, yeah, just a second. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony you are about to give to the commission in this matter shall be in the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. No.
Yeah, in regards to the sign code that we've got, number one, code enforcement isn't doing their job because the sandwich signs that you were referenced are sitting on public property, not private property. If code enforcement were doing the job, the sidewalks wouldn't have them out there. Public property wouldn't have it. There's an ordinance that needs to be enforced. The sign ordinance that exists and the size of signs within Mesilla are two different sizes for two different things. Historical commercial signage, which would be like all the properties that are around the plaza and what have you, have limited signage to 15 square foot per sign for a reason. Most of those shops are narrow and what have you. You put a larger sign on there, you're disfiguring everything in historic preservation. We allow or changed the ordinance to allow the commercial zone to have a 25 square foot sign, which is close to double what everybody in the historical zone goes. We have businesses that aren't even wanting 25 square foot signs. They want bigger. They want more attention. And the whole thing that makes Mesilla different is historical preservation. If you change this ordinance, you're lighting the dynamite for preservation, especially in the core of Mesilla. We need to protect the core. There have been all kinds of hearings that have taken place in the past on the ordinances. The ordinances have been reviewed, and there is no need other than a handful of people that want these things changed for their benefit solely. They're not interested in historic preservation. They're interested in getting exposure from as far away as they can get it. We've allowed directory signs to go into. Are we on a limited minute or so? Well, is that right? In a public hearing, we're limited to the time we can speak. If that's going to be the effect, I think it'd be a good idea to note that in the very beginning, but I didn't hear that. So it's important that we leave the ordinance alone and see to it that the people that are in charge of enforcing the ordinance do their job and things would work better for us. All the new problems that we're having is because of change. And that's not what everybody's job here is for. Everybody is here to protect the community, to protect what we are. And this definitely is not anything in benefit of the town. And whenever an ordinance is going to be amended like this, I think it would be advisable for the Planning and Zoning Commission to have those ordinances posted where the posting is so people can see what changes are allowed. Because the way it's being done, nobody's informed until tonight.
Thank you very much. Any other comments on the sign modifications? All right. You solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony you are about to give to the commission in this matter shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And get up and state your name and your address. And
Commission, my name is Jonathan Sepp. I am the managing owner of the Chocolate Lady, right there on the plaza of Old Mesilla. I'm just reading this language now, and it about the A-frame sign specifically, and it does seem a little strict. Full transparency, I just submitted an application last week trying to learn about how to get an A-frame sign in front of my shop. I would suggest maybe swapping some of the language to be a little bit more amenable to the public right-of-way, and be less specific about saying signs shall not cause any obstruction on pathways and sidewalks, and say something more along the lines of shall not impede the public right of way. So like when I was thinking about where to put my A-frame sign in front of my shop, I thought about how the public utilizes sidewalks. In the areas that I identified as potential locations, they would be awkward paths to actually be used as a right of way. And so the sidewalk's still totally functionable. There's still room for people to utilize it, walk their dogs past, walk themselves past. But I think there are opportunities to take advantage of areas around light poles or just poles in general to utilize that space. And so if you talk about it in a more amenable manner, like the public right of way, which seems to be the concern here, it's not being able to walk along the sidewalk or having to sidestep things like that. I think that does kind of solve everybody's problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Any other comments about this code change? All right, we're going to go on to the second hearing. And as Mr. Salazar mentioned, it is about it's code 18.60340, which is the height wall for the South Union Avenue issues.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, yeah, we are going to go ahead and progress over to the general provisions, conditions and exceptions, 18.60 to be exact. The only thing that we discussed or we changed in this section is the very last, I believe it's the very last one, is H. Let me see to get the full. Is going to be 1860.340 wall, fence, and hedges. And the last one will be H. A wall may exceed 6 feet if. Again, the blue I highlighted, this one, but from previous meetings, but the blue is what we add on to our code. So the only thing that we're recommending to change is again the blue and the highlighted blue. I'll go ahead and read that. Is compatible with development zone as defined in the guidelines of and criteria for the preservation and development manual, the Iguaro plan, is connected to the building where it surrounds a courtyard, patio, or open room, and the height of the wall is to provide privacy and / or environmental protection. The wall shall not exceed the height of the corresponding building, nor at any time exceed 10 feet. This criterion shall not be considered for a perimeter wall, property line fence, for example. And then it gives the previous ordinances. We added number 2 is residential property south of University Avenue between Bowman Street and McDowell Street, in which the 6 feet maximum requirement for a perimeter fence is still 6 feet, but will be measured at the base of the finished ground level immediately outside the property. Clear sight triangles still need to be observed on all 4 corner lots. And the reason why this is because, as you know, we have received in the past some concerns about those residents there are south of the university due to the university project, along with the street widening and the trails that's being finished off. And their concerns is that the grade on the outside of their properties, which is on the New Mexico DOT, is much higher than that of their property itself. And what it did is it would allow pedestrians walking by alongside of the fence line to be able to see inside not only see inside their property, but also to get easy access in case somebody did happen to be up to no good. There are some chain link fences along that property as well. So the privacy part is not really a concern to some of these homes, but there are some that do have some rock walls and such. So what we're putting together, what this recommendation is, it's still 6 feet, just like anywhere else. It's only 6 feet is allowed unless you have a special use permit, or like you mentioned right here in the Guado plan, where it's connected to the house as part of the architectural design for that building. What we're proposing here is still 6 feet, but the fence be measured at the grade outside of their property will be 6 feet, and what that will also do is allow them to build their fence on or add to their fence a little much higher than 6 feet, but as long as it's being measured and consistent on the public's view side, right? So if you allow it from the grade, that'll make all the fence line, the top of the fence line, consistent, because some of those properties are a little bit higher or lower. So if you would say, well, we'll allow them to have 8 feet due to that grade, then 8 feet over here is not the same as 8 feet over here. So there will be a lot of staggering. I don't think that will be good. Ultimately, we would like, the town would like, the mayors we talked to, ultimately we would like is to put some kind of a barrier wall like you see in the freeway. I mean, that's the plan. That is what we want to do. Obviously, we need funding. This is New Mexico DOT's property. And that's something that we can just walk up there and say, well, this is what we're going to do. So there's still got to be a lot of discussion with that. Eventually, we want to get to there. I hear comments where I wasn't in those meetings. I don't know if there was a public meeting. I wasn't there. All we're trying to do, what this commission is trying to do, is make some kind of possibility if an owner feels that they need to protect themselves or privacy and such, that they're able to do so. Right now, again, the goal would be, and the overall would be somehow to screen that. I would love to have a wall like that and make it like an art wall, right? Like a mural wall, something like you see along the freeways with the newer designs and stuff. The idea, I don't know, the board of trustees like that idea, or some of them, I haven't talked to all of them, I don't speak for all of them, but we do want that. It's just now it's not feasible, so we are at least allowing the residents to go up my house. I've had 2 applications already come in to raise a rock wall because we haven't had the hearing yet. I invited them over and also said, hey, it'll be a good idea. This is what we want to do. We still got to get it approved. If your contractor is going to build a rock wall there, build it for a much taller wall, your base, just in case we get to that point, because you just can't add another additional 3 or 4 feet of rock wall on the foundation that's meant for 6 or 4, right? It just won't happen. You have to demolish your whole wall and start all over again. That gets very, very costly. So anyway, that is pretty much the gist of this proposal recommendation for this part. So I'll stand by for any questions
Commissioners have any questions?
for myself. Nope.
Okay. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of comments. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you. Good idea. Comment on this particular matter. And yeah, I think we might have a lot of people, but can I get a feel for how many comment on the fence?
Swear us all at once.
Yes, yes, yes.
What's that?
Swear at us all at once.
Yeah, you'll swear. Yes. Anyone else? Great. What's that?
Raise your hand.
Okay. Raise your right hand, and you solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony you are about to give to the commission in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Come on, state your name and where you live.
Chris Alexander.
3 minutes,
Excuse me?
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, you got 3 minutes. The State Highway Department came to the town of Mesilla wanting to widen out the road. They made agreements with the town of Mesilla to widen out the road. They would take the ditch that was running parallel with the properties that are in question. They were to take that ditch, put it in a tube, put it underground in order to meet the width requirements that they wanted to do for development. The state didn't come to the town of Mesilla, took it upon themselves to elevate that road 3 to 4 feet taller. And now they're coming over here asking you to make exception to the rule. And they spent over $200 million of the taxpayers' money working on that road out there. And they didn't do what they said. So why are we here today asking for a special exemption? Because they didn't want to spend the money, and they had more than enough money to do it the way they wanted. And now that's one of the main entrances into the town of Mesilla. That's not in. We have the University Corridor, the Mesilla Historic Corridor coming to a point right there. And now what are we doing? We're changing the rules that we have for historic preservation because upon themselves as to how they would do that. And now we're stuck with the residents having to have a dangerous situation. And the fact of the matter is the state of New Mexico should come in there and build a solid retaining wall along every one of those properties 6 feet tall. Then you go and on their own property, build it to a safety standard off of the residents' property. And therefore, the government that wants to be so exempt from the rules can build on their own and quit putting the burden on the taxpayers, the safety. They've destroyed that rule. And every one of you shouldn't be voting on anything that is proposed on these hearings because they are not properly set and they are keyed for change. There was no need to do what they needed to do other than saving money so they could put it somewhere else. They decided what they wanted. We decided that we would agree to it. And then in mid-course, they change it. No.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. State your name and address.
2860 McDowell Street, directly across from Zia Middle School. First of all, I object to the fact that you're going to stop at in front of my fence because we got issues too. For the people who live east, your measurement from the base of the ground outside their property would be erroneous because that neighbor, their ground's up here, even with the walking path. Over here, they're 3 feet below the walking path. It needs to be measured from a consistent level. The walking path is, I walk along there and their yard's way down there. They put a 6-foot fence. It's going to be right here. Now, my issue is that we lost 8 to 6 inches completely across the whole thing because they filled it in and raised it up so they could bring a curb. There was no curb there before. So we've got a 5 or 6 inch curb out at the street, and then it kind of rotates up. And where they put the bus station, it's even higher. And now I'm seeing people's eyeballs walking along my 6-foot fence. My 6-foot fence along McDowell Road, it's still the same. My eyes are down here and the fence is up here. So I have an issue and I want to raise my fence too. I should be included to do that, not based on where the ground is outside my rock wall, but as it comes up, that walking path would give us a nice even line instead of, you're going to get this otherwise. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
My name is Sue Theodorson, and I live at 315 Capri Arc. My house backs up to University. I still have my 3-foot chain link fence, and luckily I haven't built anything yet, although I'd like to, because I know the noise is going to be bad out there, particularly my dogs running out to bark at everybody that walks by. But I don't know whether to start or not. When are we going to have some rules on what we can and can't do? A 6-foot fence will get me up maybe 2 feet above the walking path because my yard is way down low. So I guess that my question is, when should I get my fence built where we have a good rule? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Someone else would like to come up? Thank you.
My name's Lori Finley. I'm at 2860 McDowell Place. I reside with Jim. And I just want to state too that please don't stop at McDowell. Let it go, continue on down University, because it's not fair for us not to be able to change our fence when they get to change their fence. It should be whoever wants to on University. That's all I would like you to consider.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I think we had a couple of people over here that wanted to get up.
Dave Sedgwood, Arkansas.
Oh, okay, very good. All right. Looks like we might be done with this. Okay. Oh, yes, sir.
We need to be sworn in.
Yes. You're a late arrival, right?
No, I've been here.
All right. Okay. You solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony you're about to give to the commission in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
All right. And your address?
I'm not.
Name and address.
309 Capri Arc.
Okay.
So my
yeah.
house backs up to University.
Mm-hmm.
And my concern is my safety concern, because I have 3 dogs, which never had a problem when the ditch was lower. I have a short chain link fence, I guess 36 inches. 2 feet away from that, I have a wooden fence, planks, and was tall enough to keep the view from pedestrians, vehicles, and whatever else. Well, now people walking through the path, if I'm out there, they can say hi to me because I'm in full view. And my dogs are only doing their job of barking. Well, there's people throwing pine cones because I have pine cones, pine trees in the back, or yelling at them. So now my dogs are getting attitudes towards people. I had an incident where one of my dogs got out and was in the front yard. Somebody called the animal control that the dog had attacked them. She jumped over the fence. So people, I've seen pine cones, I see rocks, I see coffee cups in my yard throwing at the dogs. Mesilla sheriffs came by. I happened to be out of there, but when I drove up, animal control was there. 2 deputies were there. I have a film on my phone where the deputy shot at my dog twice because he claims that the dog came at him. The reason I have that video is because there was kids down 2 streets down from my house. They were having a little garage sale, so they filmed the whole thing. They said the dog was barking at the gentleman that was walking towards McDowell. She was barking at him, but she was still in the yard because, I don't have a fence in the front yard, that ordinance. But I've taught him not to leave the yard. When I release them, I'm there and I make sure that if they step out of it, I let them know. Well, when I drove up, my dog was barking at the deputy from my driveway. So I drove up, put her in the garage. So I asked, what was going on. And they said, the deputy says, well, I shot at her. You may want to check her. I think I hit her. And I said, well, did she cry? Did she yap? I said, she ran fine into the garage. He says, well, you still may want to check her. So I said, okay. So I went and checked her. They took my information, animal control. Animal control warned me that she's been declared a vicious dog.
Time is up, so.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's proof that she didn't attack the people that they claim from the witnesses I have. She did go after the deputy because he's tried to spray her, and he took 2 shots. He claimed it was 1. I don't know where those bullets ricocheted to. He shot in the direction of my neighbor's house or my house. And that's my concern of what's happening in behind my house.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anyone else? All right. I think we'll go on to, thank you for your comments very much. Go on to Mr. Salazar to item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hearing number 3, this is our historic preservation, our nominations for our properties. With that, I invite Ms. Liana Aguirre to step up to the podium, and then she will be hosting this presentation. I don't have anything other for you. So, are you gonna bring anything up on there? All right. It's all you.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners, Chair, Wilkinshaw, and the residents of the town. It's great to have the number of residents we have here today. It's very nice to see you all. Just wanted to, so today we'll be discussing our first nominations into what we're calling the new register. It's titled the Town of Mesilla Historical and Cultural Register. It should be something of high importance to us, especially since at this time of great change, we're going through a lot, we're seeing different things happening here. And as Mr. Alexander mentioned, preservation is key. We are all very fond of Mesilla, and because of its authenticity, should aim to preserve its culture and heritage. I understand incorporating preservation into the town is new, and many may be wondering what it means to have your property nominated on our local register. But I'd like to give a reminder and say this is Old Mesilla. We are a beautiful and unique town that is known for our history, heritage, our historic adobe buildings, our culture, landscape, and our agricultural lands, which physically set us apart from Las Cruces. Our history is certainly something we should protect, be proud of, and boast about humbly. To that note, we're in the continuous process of achieving our certified local government. As you know, this is a status that should help us. To name a few things, Cedros is receiving funding for restoring historic homes, offer workshops to residents to offer the tools to repair historic homes, apply for more grants for historic properties, to protect, to restore, and rehabilitate them. In order to do this, the town is required to have our own historic register, since these are the properties that would be eligible for this funding, which is why we're here today to nominate the first 3 structures to the town register. For the past month, I have been encouraging the town to make nominations locally and nationally. It is something any and all of you can, and I urge you to please do. And this would help me greatly, but hopefully to also bring some pride to you and the place in which you reside. There are some hard copy applications right at the table, the sign-in table here, and a QR code available. You're able to use the QR code and the same either way. So I'm beginning this nomination process so that you're all comfortable in pursuing your own nominations, and my department is here for your support. As we have discussed in previous meetings and have made amendments to the historic preservation section of our code in Chapter 1833, owner consent is not required for nominations. This is a method that is generally advised in preservation. These laws align with the National Historic Preservation Act and the Historic District and Landmark Act, both of which are adopted in our code. The commission today will be voting to accept these structures into our local register. Once these properties are accepted, they will be protected under design review. Sorry, just trying to get this thing sleeping. Okay, pardon me. They'll be protected under design review, which states that for these historic buildings, the exterior of the structure shall be retained. However, any and all interior work is permitted. This even includes reasonable roof work as long as the exterior street-facing structure is unaffected. Other work is permitted. All that is needed is to submit a permit, and we'll be happy to work with you. If there are any other questions, myself or Mr. Salazar in the town hall right here are waiting to support you and work with you regarding you and your historic property. So just before we begin our nominations, I'd like to take a look at the Historic Preservation Act and to read this Historic Preservation Act. This is Section 1, subsection 1 of 4 out of 7, and here on the left here is the purpose of the Historic District and Landmarks Act, which we've also discussed. But more importantly, I'd like to read the first 4 subsections of the Historic Preservation Act. And this is just a brief, there are 7, so I'm just trying to save some time. The states that the Congress finds and declares that the spirit and direction of the nation are founded upon and reflected in its historic heritage. Number 2, the historical and cultural foundations of the nation should be preserved as a living part of our community life and development in order to give a sense of orientation to the American people. Number 3, historic properties are significant to the nation's heritage are being lost or substantially altered, often inadvertently, with increasing frequency. And number 4, the preservation of this irreplaceable heritage is in the public interest, so that its vital legacy of cultural, educational, aesthetic, inspirational, economic, and energy benefits will be maintained and enriched for future generations. So with this in mind, we'll begin the nominations. The commissioners, as you know, we've attended this workshop and we kind of went in depth on each property. This would be just a brief overview for each. So this first property that I will be nominating is the Lenar Moran store and the rear structure. This is located on 2380 Calle de Principal. This structure is already part of the national landmark since the plaza and the area surrounding it is, and it is on the National Register of Historic National Register of Historic Places, numbers 119 and 200. And this will qualify because of its association with events and patterns of local history. This building reflects early settlement patterns, the introduction of new building technologies, and the presence of European immigrants in Mesilla. And it also falls under the distinctive characteristics of a type or method of construction, as this is known as the first brick building in New Mexico. This property represents a rare and early example of a fired brick construction in this region. And it could possibly serve as the criteria which were associated with significant persons, since Moran, he was one of the French immigrant whose activities contributed to the cultural and architectural development here in Mesilla. This property retains the integrity in the following areas. By location, the property remains in its original site. It's a focal point bordering the plaza and a center for commerce. Through its setting, Calle del Principal retains historic scale and character and aligns with the historic plaza. In design, it has its original massing and form remain legible. The property on the facade of the plaza was and still functions as a commercial space. The rear portion was once residential, but now is an extension of the commercial space. The rear structure was built a bit earlier, in the late 1850s and the 60s, and it's an example of pre-territorial architecture. As far as the materials, the brick walls remain a defining feature. It's a unique and uncommon material at this time and unused in this region other than the structure here. So it's stated that these bricks were fired by where the Rio used to run over by Zia Middle School. And this is where the bricks were made here for this building in particular. The rear structure is an adobe, and they both additionally have glass windows with wood lintels and some wood materials present. The portales and porch were later added to the structure and are not original. The feelings and the association retain strong connection to the early Mesilla history. These buildings reflect early settlement patterns, and this Moran-Leonard building demonstrates the introduction of new building technologies and the presence of European immigrants in Mesilla. Additionally, it's also rare and an early example of fired brick construction in this region. Built by Auguste Moran and his partner Leonard, this is possibly the first building in the state. If not the first, it's certainly one of the first. This building has functioned as a town hall, a residence, and a saloon, and is now a gift shop known as the Thunderbird de la Mesilla. I'm nominating these two, which is the front and the rear properties, simultaneously. Although they're constructed at different times and are two separate structures, they share the same parcel, are noted so on the Doña Ana County parcel map. And this is, you want to change just this is what the National Register nominations are. And these, once again, are based upon the 1985 they were published, but work done between 79 and 80 for our National Register of Historic Places. The next nomination is the location at 2600 Avenida de Mesilla. It's the Palacio Bar since 1936, and I'll go through a number of details here. Well, firstly, this building is being nominated as a contributing altered under the contributing altered classification. It's been modified, but it retains enough integrity to contribute to the historic character of Mesilla and to convey its significance. The alterations made do not obscure the building's overall historic identity. The status, unfortunately, would discount this property from being on the National Register of Historic Places as an individual landmark. Yeah, we can still include it on our local register. And this building holds significance under the association with events, patterns of our local history. It's an example of Messilla's longstanding social traditions and contributes to the understanding of what community life or what part of the community life was about in the 20th century. It also embodies distinctive characteristics of a type of a construction, and it's despite alterations, the building retains its original adobe structure, dance hall and bar, and spatial relationship to the historic streetscape. There has been that addition of the additional patio in front And so that's what, and some other additions, there have been some windows installed, but this is why it's being labeled a contributing altar classification. It retains integrity because during the building remains in its original location. It's surrounded by the surrounding commercial uses. They remain consistent with historic patterns as it's set along the main road and Highway 20. The original space, which was a blacksmith shop, and the later addition of a dance hall make up the majority of the property. Some original materials have been changed to accommodate this commercial space. The rear dance hall and the main bar are majorly made of adobe materials, and the later additions are not. And this building retains a strong connectivity to early Mesilla history, as this building continues to function as a popular bar and dance hall, maintaining its historic and social role. This structure is, like as mentioned, is already on the historic register. It's numbers 8 and 9, which are down here below, if you'd like to read along. And the Palacio Bar is significant to the town of Mesilla for its long-standing role as a social, cultural, and commercial gathering place within our town. It reflects Mesilla's evolution as a borderland community and its tradition of locally owned establishments that serve residents, travelers, soldiers, and agricultural workers throughout the 20th century till today. And the final building I'll be nominating is this is the first to be nominated in the rural farmlands as an individual landmark. Much attention has been placed on the plaza and the surrounding areas of preservation of this town. However, if you'd really like to take a look at the true history of Mesilla and take that into account, to look at rehabilitation in our green belt and begin to preserve Mesilla properly and fully, we must begin to look at this area as well. This will fall under the association also with events that have made a significant contribution to local history. This property reflects the historic agricultural development of the Mesilla Valley, particularly the long-standing patterns of farming, irrigation, and rural settlement along Snow Road. Its landscape and spatial organization illustrate the community's reliance on a small-scale agriculture and acequia-supported land use. And also as an example of the embodiment of distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction. This is a unique and rare example of rural agriculture here in Mesilla. There is none other like it in this town to my knowledge, but certainly none like it in this corridor, or as it still sits on the traditional 10 acres that were allotted to farmers originally. The property retains its integrity in the following areas. It still remains in its original rural setting along Snow Road, one of Mesilla's earliest rural agricultural corridors, and sits on the intersection of Snow Road and Calle del Norte. It runs parallel to the Rio Grande and a number of acequias. The rural, just a little back information, is the rural roads developed to connect these fields to the plaza, which Snow Road is one of those rural roads. It crosses regional trade routes, and it's tied into the importance of such trails as it's coming down these main roads to the Chihuahua Trail, to Butterfield Trail, the Santa Fe Trail. And its alignment, Snow Road's alignment directly is linked to irrigated farmland to Mesilla, matching this early pattern. The design of the building the building forms and the spatial organization reflect rare architectural design, yet traditional Mesilla and farmhouse patterns with an additional large adobe barn and storage space. The construction materials are mainly adobe, wood, and glass and stucco. And this property continues to convey its historic agricultural identity and its connection to Mesilla's rural heritage. And this property is not on the National Register of Historic Places, however, it has full potential to be so. And before anything, I'd like to comment and add some insight for the property since I have been in contact with the property owner and having some conversations. I'd firstly like to acknowledge that the current owner is in the process of selling the property, and that can be stressful. We respect this. However, the commission's responsibility is not to evaluate personal circumstances. It is to evaluate historic significance. We've adopted this into our ordinance, and it states owner consent is not required for nomination or designation, And that is because the value of a historic property extends beyond the current owner. 2090 Snow Road is not just another parcel. It is part of one of Messia's earliest agricultural corridors. Its layout, setting, and architectural character still reflect the historic rural landscape that shaped this community. If we fail to take the steps necessary to preserve this structure, we risk losing a property that tells a chapter of Messia's story that cannot be replaced. When a property is for sale, that is exactly when designation matters most. A sale is a moment of vulnerability, a moment when demolition, subdivision, or drastic alteration becomes most likely. Designation protects the property during this transition and ensures that the next owner understands its value from day one. And as a reminder, for a historic property, the owner is allowed to do whatever they please to the interior. We only ask that the exterior of the structure remain unharmed and unaltered. In Mesilla, historic designation should not be a liability, it is a selling point. Buyers who come to Mesilla are looking for authenticity, character, and connection to history. Designation tells buyers this property matters. It's part of something bigger, it's protected, it's respected, and it's rooted in our shared history. It should not be a deterrent, it's an asset. It's natural to feel empathy for an owner who is navigating a sale. It's understandable that when a property is listed for sale, an owner or realtor can ask us to delay or avoid designation. They worry it might complicate the transaction or discourage buyers, and we understand that selling a property can be personal, even emotional. But empathy cannot override stewardship. If we allow personal circumstances to dictate our decisions, we risk losing the very heritage we are entrusted to protect. Our responsibility is to the community, to future generations, and to the history of Mesilla itself. We've seen time and again that buyers who choose Mesilla are drawn to its authenticity. Its architecture, its history, its character. That's what makes us unique here. Designation doesn't scare them off, it attracts the right kind of stewardship. If we let empathy for the seller override the significance of the losing what makes Mesilla special. And once it's gone, it doesn't come back. This property tells a history that belongs to all the town. Designation is not a restriction, it is a recognition. It protects our community's identity. Typically, designation does not complicate a sale, it elevates it. I would also like to be clear and state that economic hardship is not a factor the commission can consider when deciding whether a property is historical significant. Designation is based solely on the property's cultural, architectural, and historic value to the community. However, if a property is designated and an owner later faces a genuine financial burden related to the work required to maintain the structure, our ordinance provides a separate hardship process to evaluate that. That safeguard exists to support the owners after designation, not to prevent the community from recognizing and protecting an important historic resource. Our responsibility today is to evaluate significance. The hardship process exists later as a safety valve, not as a barrier to designation. If a designated property owner later faces a situation where compliance would be financially unbearable, they can apply for relief, and the commission will then evaluate evidence for this. Designation is a planning and land use decision made in the public interest. Restrictions are made just as they are in zoning laws, setbacks, permitting, and things as such. Allowing economic hardship to block designation would undermine the purpose of preservation law, which is to protect significant resources for the community as a whole, as stated in the Historic Preservation Act, the Historic Districts and Landmarks Act, and reflected in our town code on historic preservation, 1833.040, specifically Section B. And I can read that. It states, the Board of Trustees declares as a matter of public policy that the preservation, protection, and use of our historic landmarks and buildings in this historic districts are a public necessity because they have a special character or a special historic, architectural, aesthetic, or cultural value, and thus serve as visible reminders of the history and heritage of this town, state, and nation. The board declares as a matter of public policy that this chapter is required in the interests of the health, safety, welfare, and economic well-being of the public. The board declares as a matter of public policy that the identification and designation of historic landmarks and historic districts and the approval or disapproval of exterior changes to designated properties or their demolition or relocation or new construction on the site are stated to be a public purpose. It's important that we respect these historic buildings and protect them. They have a story to tell. They've been here longer than we have, and they're not able to speak to themselves. This gives us an opportunity to speak for them. Gither Farms is one of the last remaining structures along this historic agricultural corridor in Mesilla. If we want future generations to understand what this community once was about, how it grew, how it lived, how it farmed, then we should protect the properties that still tell the story. 2090 Road, Snow Road is one of them. Designation is not an obstacle. It's an act of stewardship. It's not a restriction, it's a recognition. And this is the end for my designation, so any questions?
Any questions from the commission? All right. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Welcome.
Now, if there's anyone in the audience that wants to get up and discuss their feelings about this presentation or about the hearing on number 3 for these registrations, you can stand up and just a second. Yeah. Want to get everyone, I'll have everyone swear in at once. So, all right. Oh, you can go ahead and stand up. So if you want to speak. All right. So again, you solemnly swear. You solemnly swear. They're raising their hand. Okay. You solemnly swear that the evidence and your testimony for you are about to give for the commission to the commission in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. If you could. Okay. Thank you. So whoever wants to get up first and state your name and address, if you would.
You will be limited to 3 minutes. Everyone will be.
Well, she didn't 3 minutes, but I'll do my best.
Thank you.
But I mean, there's a lot to say here. I'm not. Maybe she has so much to say because I made a mistake of talking to her beforehand. So
Thank you.
So she had the ammunition before I ever got up here. So I'm.
Which one is this?
Oh yeah, I'm Richard Knopp.
Now, who are you referring to? The sheep?
Leon, yeah. I've talked to her a couple of times already. So I'm Richard Knopp, and I own 2090 Snow Road. I've talked to Eddie 2 or 3 times about getting ready to sell this over the last couple of years. He's given me pointers and stuff, and he's been very helpful. There are several people here in support of my position. I'll just mention who they are. Whether they're going to speak or not, I don't know. But my realtor, Van Bullock, I think a lot of people here in this room know him. The buyer, who is very anxious to buy the place, is Aida and Arnold over here, and their realtor is Kate. Also, here is a gentleman that farmed my place for at least 30 years, and he's a neighbor of mine, John Kleischolt, and I think a lot of people here know John. So anyway, I ask your all's indulgence. I'm going to read this in thinking about the time, because I don't want to ramble. I want to. Really? Okay. I was born 77 years ago at 2090 Snow Road. My great-grandparents, Paul and Mary Ginther, who lived in Mexico, purchased several small farms outside the Mesilla during the early years of 1900s. They were eventually able to put together a contiguous farm of approximately 300 acres. Since they had no intention of living there permanently, they asked their nephew, Victor Ginther, to move to the farm and manage it. Within a few short years, one of his daughters, Grace, needed a place to live with her two young children. The three subsequently moved to the farm. During the ensuing years, other extended family members came to live at the farm at various lengths of time. What would become the farm headquarters consisted of an adobe one-bedroom farmhouse, an adobe barn. You saw pictures of it right up here. A row of workers' quarters running parallel to the barn. As the number of family members continued to increase, it necessitated the need to remodel the existing buildings to accommodate them. Additions were made to all sides of the farmhouse. The entryway was enclosed to become an additional room, and front, back, and porches were added. Unfortunately, due to finances, they were not done in adobe as the original house. New workers' quarters were built at another location on the farm so that the existing ones could be converted into additional living space for the family. This was accomplished by taking out the back wall of the quarters and extending the existing walls to the side wall of the barn, thereby adding 9 additional feet to each room. What I passed out to you is a floor plan of the barn and the house as it stands now. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I even put directional south, north, east, and west so you could see how it's situated. This made for an unusual formatted floor plan. An additional enclosed porch was added to the entire length of the house. Unfortunately, it was not constructed of adobe either. This not only made for an unusual structure for the house, but now made the barn appear lopsided. My grandmother always thought that she would like to incorporate the barn into the house, but again, finances would not permit. If she had been able to accomplish it, it would have added to the history of the farm. My brother and sister and I recently sold the farm acreage. Within an agreement between us, my part in the agreement was that I would retain sole ownership of the remaining 10 acres, which contained the original headquarters. They obtained the other family properties located elsewhere. We all depend on the properties which we inherited to sell and use the money for our old age. I personally can say, unfortunately, that other than Social Security, that is all I will have to live on since I have been retired for some years. In putting the property up for sale, I've been aware that anyone purchasing the 10 acres would have no need for a 4,300 square foot barn that once was used to support a 300-acre farm. I've recently been advised that there is someone who is interested in purchasing the property. Understandably, it is my understanding that they would like to remodel the barn in the same manner that my grandmother was thinking about. I would understandably require placing windows. It would understandably require placing windows and or doors in the south side of the barn, which is, well, you'll see if you see that. We now find that the property is proposed for some sort of historic registry, and in doing so, the owner would no longer be able to remodel the barn in the manner in which my grandmother or anyone else would have wanted to. If this is the case, it will make it virtually impossible to sell my property. It will destroy my portion of the agreement which I have with my brother and sister and require us to go back to the bargaining table. My wife is ill and needs care, and I am not young. I'm 77 and will soon have needs in keeping with my age. I need the money from the sale of the property. The house and barn have already been extensively changed from their original design. The house no longer looks like a farmhouse. The barn no longer looks like a barn. it was told to me that the only part of the property that remains to appear original is the south wall of the barn. One wall of one building on a 10-acre property does not appear to me to warrant what is being asked of me and my potential buyers. In the town of Mesilla wishes to keep the property in its exact state, I would be more than willing to sell it to the town. They could then preserve it as they see fit. But as long as it is under private ownership, I contend that there should be no restrictions as aforementioned, and only those that are agreed on by the owner. I, for one, unfortunately, can in no way afford to pay out of pocket for something that the town deems historically advantageous, and that I would not receive anything in return and jeopardize the remaining years of my wife and myself. So I regret that I talked to Liana about this, because she would have not loaded up, that last bit that she threw in there was directly in response to this, because she knew I was coming. So, I told her this, that to get those pictures that she showed up there, she had to come onto my property, actually go in the barn, take pictures of the barn, take pictures of the houses and everything. She had no authorization or anybody else to come on the place to do that. So that was an illegal act in itself. So everybody that I've mentioned this situation to, and there are several, they're privy to this kind of similar situations in other cities, say, yeah, you need to lawyer up, you need to get a lawyer. They've even given me a couple of names of lawyers that have already won cases like this. And I elected not to bring, it was recommended I bring a lawyer tonight. And I figured, well, hopefully we get this straightened out here tonight, and that won't be needed. But, I am prepared.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thank you.
any questions for me?
Any questions from the commissioners for clarification? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Van Bullock. I live at 720 Roadrunner Circle. I'm a licensed real estate appraiser in town. In fact, as you can probably tell looking at me, I have the oldest commercial license in the state. But I want to thank you guys for your time here. I've served on boards. I know it's a lot of time you put in for very, very little compensation. So I appreciate you being here. I'd like to correct a few things that your preservation person told. First, you said this is an original 10-acre site. It's not. This property, as Eddie knows, was part of a 100+ acre farm. We divided it in 10 acres about 2 years ago. So that's far from being an original site. And I want to take issue. And first of all, I'm a fan of history too. Okay. I read a lot of history books and things, but she said that this would increase property value. I don't know what credentials she has to say that. I don't think she's ever done any appraisal work or real estate work. I've spent 30-something years appraising properties. This designation will drastically hurt the value of this property. She showed up when the property had been shown to the contractor and the buyer, and basically made statements, well, you can't do anything with this. You can't change these things. Now, in her zeal to protect history, and I can understand that, obviously, why would you say that? You're trying to discourage a sale, okay, to do that. You're trying to run off a buyer from the property. That's the only reason I can think of why you'd say something like that. And I think she's way out of her line to do that. She was saying it's designated historical. It hasn't been. We don't know if that's going to happen or not, do we? And another point I'd like to make, the two other properties that you mentioned here, that's a whole different world. You have properties that people can go inside, okay, that are being used. People can touch it, see the plaques. This barn and this house are located virtually in the very close to the center of a 10.85 acre farm. And people aren't going to allow to have trespass and access to get into that farm. They're going to be looking from 300 or 400 feet away. There's a barn. That's not going to cause people to come to Mesilla, that there's a barn outside of town that's 300 something feet. They can't even barely see it. Well, I mean, they can see it. I said that wrong. They can't see the detail of it. Okay. So I would say that I think I have, my experience and work, a little bit more expertise to judge the impact of value than she does. And she's a nice lady. I'm not going to do that, but I think she was out of her lane to show up on the property and tell the buyer, the potential buyer, they can't do anything with the property. Okay. And I think that's another part of this is well, as Richard is saying, he doesn't have a pension. He doesn't work for the government, had like that. This is the money that he's going to have to improve the quality of his retirement. And the value of this property, it's been hard enough to sell. We've had it on the market for 2 years. As it is, to put these further restrictions on it, it's going to be devastating to his retirement. And so, did I stand through my 3 minutes? I just about got it. Okay, well, I've never been chosen to stand past my welcome, except maybe by my wife. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sounds like.
Good evening, Commissioners. As you have heard, I am an interested party in this property. But I'd like to also point out, Aida Lopez, sorry. But I'd also like to point out a couple of things Liana mentioned herself. For example, 2380 Calle Principal, that's the Palacios Bar. She mentioned that building has been altered. It's been considered a contributing altered building that's, considered historic. I'd kind of like to do the same thing with this barn. I'd like to preserve it. I'd like it to have many, many more years to come, adding windows and doors to be able to live in the structure. So I don't think that, my opinion, making those alterations like some of these other buildings have would take away from the barn and the history that it has. But it's just not feasible to buy a property like that and have your hands tied and not be able to do anything. So I'd like that to be considered, that just because somebody's going to move into it and do a couple of alterations, it doesn't take away the history of the building. It's just going into a different phase, still being respected for many more years to come. And I think being able to do those modifications doesn't take away the integrity of the building. The history and the purpose has just shifted, right? So those are my 3 minutes. We're very interested in this property. It would be a real tragedy to have it to sit there for a couple more years, deteriorating, and the gentleman not be able to have an income that he rightly deserves, being that his family gifted him this property. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I've also lived here well over 75 years. My family has been here 10 generations. And I would like to agree that the plaza area should be designated. I believe that the Palacio Bar should be designated. However, the Ginther Farm, I don't think should be designated as a historical site. There are a lot of other farms that are right there on Calle del Norte that are farms that have been there as long, some of them even longer. And the designation as far as the value, that farm is zoned rural farm. Rural farm zone carries the privilege of development, of putting in cluster subdivisions, which that 10-acre parcel fits within the cluster subdivision, which allows double density allowance plus the regular house. So on that 10-acre parcel, they could legally have today 5 different residences in a cluster subdivision. And the reason that cluster subdivisions aren't being used along Calle del Norte right now are because in the cluster subdivision, the remaining undeveloped property has to remain as in use. If it's a farm, it's forever. The remaining portion has to be used as a farm. All these things were put in to protect the zone. It's a 5-acre zone for one house per 5 acres, but we have special allowances for larger pieces, and everybody that has purchased on Calle del Norte that has expressed any concern about the future development going on there, which there are condominiums, there are full development between Calle del Norte, from Calle del Norte, from Highway 28 all the way to Rassoff Hills. And so all that is going to be infills. So as far as changing designation, I don't think it really carries the historical designation. It's a property that's been maintained by the family. They've done what they had to do in order to maintain it, added on whatever they had to do and done it. But I would just say that the historical designation is essential, that we protect the historic district.
Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to add that I did submit a permit with all the elevations and the interior plans for the proposed renovation last Tuesday. Just wanted to add that.
Any other comments? I don't think so. Okay, thank you for your comments, and we're gonna maybe ought to take a 5-minute, 10-minute break, and we're gonna get on with our regular schedule.
All right.
I know. Oh, good. I feel better already.
How are you all?
Oh, you dropped your glasses.
But I think but I think the next step tonight would be maximum 6 foot fence.
No, it's just recommendations.
Okay.
So I mentioned about board of trustees.
Not everybody can be administrative. I just talked to you 2 days ago.
Mine is like a motorcycle
Well, I tell you what, I didn't go there, but couldn't get the tractor to the door. John. That's John. Richard? Yeah. I'll meet you out at the farm. You were in the truck. I mean, we're all about the same. Yeah. Well, Richard did all that work. Y'all like about me, yeah.
I've planted some great horses, but I'm not worthy at all.
Which
I have a bachelor's degree in government. Worked in government and I don't even get paid, so.
Thank you.
Let's do it. Get it done. Just remember, they say, got any comments? Nada. Not a thing.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started on the regular meeting of the Planning, Zoning, and Historical Appropriateness Commission. And we did the Pledge of Allegiance before, so I don't think. So I don't know if you need to do a roll call again. What
Yes.
do? Yeah.
Just like a regular meeting.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and
Pledge allegiance, you already did, right?
roll call. Yeah.
Unless you want to do them again, that's okay. So let's take roll call, okay? Vice Chair Gallegos,
Present.
Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Alvear, Commissioner Mulvihill, Commissioner Paz, and Mr. Chair Walkinshaw.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have quorum.
Okay, thank you. Now we're for changes and approval of the agenda. I need a motion, please.
First motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Mulvihill. Any discussion? We're good?
Okay.
All right. Commissioner Gallegos?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alvear? Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 4-0, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. So I guess we're going to go up for public input on the projects that are on the action and consideration agenda. If there's anyone. Yes, ma'am. Can you state your name again and location?
Sue
Thanks.
Theodorson,
Okay.
315 Capri Arc.
Okay, thank you.
House backs up to university. I apologize for not being totally prepared earlier. The problem I have is you're looking at a 6-foot maximum wall from my yard, and that gets me to the top of the ditch. Well, yeah, the ditch is, my chain link fence is 3 feet because that's what was code in Mesilla when we moved to the house. And the ditch is 3 feet high. So 6 feet isn't going to be enough, is what I'm trying to say, to make me happy. But I think it's for safety concerns and everything. Also have another concern about the space between the walking path and my property is about this wide.
Oh.
And it's 2 or 3 feet deep. Right now, it's not that deep because it's full of weeds because of the rain that we've had, which, by the way, didn't get to my house because of the ditch and everything. I was real happy about that. But I think that some consideration needs to be made about maintaining that. If I build a 9-foot fence, I don't want those weeds to be taller than my 9-foot fence. And I don't know if it's hard to understand what I'm talking about, but my yard is probably the lowest, that area that I'm in. There. And I wanted to mention, I don't think 6 feet's going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Helen Taylor Raichie. After talking with Sue, she didn't say this, but I'm going to say it. She is wondering if you all have walked that area. And if you have, let her know that you have done that so that you understand what is going on with their properties. So I'm gathering that most of you have, but if you walk that way, I'm sure that you'll have a better understanding. Personally, I've stayed completely away from university because of construction, but I know Sue's place and, I've been to her house and in her yard. And so I just wanted to add that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Got one more coming.
Trina Witter. I just wanted to ask a clarification. At the last BOT meeting, Russell talked about, I don't know if he got it or he'd asked for $150,000 to do a local building survey, because the last one was done like in 1978. And so there's talk about that, and then there's talk about nominating things to be on the local register. It seems like the building survey should come first, and then the local register would come after that. So there'd be a discussion between the property owner and the town or whoever. So I just wanted some clarification on, I guess I don't understand the local registry. I know that there are some requirements for being the certified local government, but I would think that the historic building survey part would come first, where you have architectural preservation experts that know whether a building is contributing, non-contributing, significant, not significant, rather than just kind of, I don't know, pulling things out of a hat or whatever and putting them on a local register, either the homeowner, because you don't get the tax benefits unless you qualify to be on the state register or a national register. So I'm wondering what the benefits are to the homeowner to be on a local registry, because I don't believe that's a requirement to be on a local registry to be on the state register. Maybe it is, and I don't know. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we'll go on to the next item, which would be, well, the approval of the consent agenda is basically the approval of the February 2nd, 2026 normal minutes from the normal meeting. So I need a.
I'm going to accept the minutes for February 2nd, 2026.
Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Miller, I'm sorry, Mulvihill, second motion by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? What do you guys think? I'm sorry, Commissioners, Mr. Chair, what do you guys think about the way the format and the minutes, how they were put together? Is that okay? No, so, I mean, I added a little bit more than the original one that I sent over the email. It's just much faster, and I think it's more professional, and I think it just flows better, and really that's the legal transcript how it should be run. But any changes of that, I'm more than happy to. I'm all ears. No?
Yeah, my question, Mr. Salazar, Mr. Chair, if I can.
Yes.
Was just that I know that I've seen historically minutes of meetings and they're very detailed, extremely detailed. My concern is with the AI functionality that we're going to lose some of the meat in those discussions.
Correct. Yeah. And that is a concern, but so we just got to balance that, right? We have to figure out what, if there's something that you want to propose, hey, we're going to go ahead and follow this format, but could you add just the sentence that I feel it's necessary for it to be there, and then maybe that way we can do that. And then we can always, I always keep all the audio just in case YouTube decides to go bankrupt and sell our account overseas or something.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
Last meeting was not a typical meeting. It was more of a discussion meeting. We didn't have any cases. So I don't know that it's the best example to either say.
To judge off of it?
Or didn't work because.
Correct. Good point.
And
I
this
think
meeting will be interesting too. For the minutes.
My AI buddy knows all of you by first name now, so I had to train it, who's saying what and this and that. So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I know AI is not a a good thing for a lot of people, how they, but it's definitely making my life easier right now.
And quickly, Eddie, on page 1, it kind of jumps out at you because it's in dark colors. But AI missed the commercial zone is not HR. It's HC.
It's not a what?
It's not HR. It's HC.
Oh, that's,
So, hey, yeah, I missed that.
I'm gonna have a talk with it. Any other comment, questions? No? All right, go ahead, take a vote. That's okay, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Gallegos?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alvear? Commissioner Mulvihill? Mr. Chair, motion passes with the correction.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, now we're getting into the meat of the meeting is number 6A, which is the recommended amendments for the board of trustees for historic commercial 18.40 and also commercial zone 18.65 signs. So I need a motion to address this.
So moved.
Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Mulvihill. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a comment on the 18.40. We didn't cover that. So I just want the confusion. When I was writing this, I must have gone a brain fart because we were talking about the sandwich boards and such. You know, my mind just thought it was in the historic residential section. It was not. It's actually in the sign section. So again, this consideration is not to amend any part of the historic commercial section of our code. This is just for the sign on 1865 and 1845. Sorry, signs and the commercial zone. So there was any other discussion regarding our?
I would like to take into the man that spoke on the about how to word the 18.65, the A-frame signs.
Mhm.
Can I discuss that?
Oh, sure.
So it says only one sandwich sign is allowed per business and must be on its property. So when we were doing our little work session, we were having difficulty trying to come up with how to say it. And so we discussed that to say it on the property, but obviously that it's still happening and there's more signs and all that's they're in the way. So maybe if we added signs shall not cause any obstruction on pathways and sidewalks. And then he said, or impede public right of way. So maybe that makes it more official that it is, and that
Sure.
maybe it would be easier for code people to enforce that because it's not being enforced.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's up to you guys for discussion on that part.
I was a little confused on his comment because what's different than the sidewalk and public right of way, because the whole deal is, I think his shop, there is no place for him to put an A-frame sign because it's all sidewalk and public right of way. So I was confused how he thought his wording would allow him to place a sign there.
I think because he was talking about another areas, not necessarily his, but maybe by the light post or what else he's in, like other proposed areas that does not impede people's right of way, but yet would direct maybe to a shop or other creative uses that does not impede the public's right of way. So maybe if we're looking, we're opening, like having more vision of what he might be envisioning or other people, is that we're necessarily saying that a sandwich board right in front of yours is causing the problem, because it is. That maybe there's other areas or places that you can put it where it doesn't impede the public right of way and like that.
Yeah, I think that's how I interpreted it. Is whenever he was mentioning that was because in his area he doesn't have his property, it is right away, the sidewalks right there. So he would like to change, he understood what our intentions were. But he would like to say, well, maybe if I can put my sandwich sign behind a light post or a parking meter or whatever is there that doesn't impede, traffic in the right of way, maybe that would be allowable instead of saying, no obstruction or A-frames outside of your property. Right. And I think that's what he meant. But it's up. It's up to you. And there are some right of ways that we have that are not sidewalks. There is the curb, and then there's a small section usually used for landscaping sometimes, and then you got your sidewalk. So, if you really want to start splitting peas, sometimes people do that when they want to get,
I think that's opening a whole new can of worms that we don't want to.
And I agree with Commissioner Miller because, we also have to look at ADA and we can't put sound signs on the sidewalks. We can't, it's an ADA violation.
Yeah, and it'll be hard, maybe a little bit harder to.
Well, a person that had a problem would go, well, aside from code, there's a national program for ADA. They have to report a right-of-way issue, and then they're probably fined. But yeah, I think the best thing is for our code to go ahead and do it. But I also see on around the corner from where he's talking about on Perion, there's some. I mean, it's an even narrower trail. I mean, it's a hard trail. It's probably brick, but they have some signs that are like the signs we're talking about, but they're leaned up against the wall. So they're not really A-frame, they're just stuck up against the wall. And so that might be an issue too, because it's, again, yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Any other comments?
So funny you mentioned that, maybe it's just something, I agree. I think, liability wise and such, but how do we help the businesses that are up to the sidewalk, right? Obviously we will help as much as possible, but sometimes you can't help everybody. But you mentioned a sign leaning against the wall. It's not really leaning against the wall. It's leaning against the wall. It's not on the wall, and that's a temporary sign that maybe, you can hang your menu right outside the wall, instead of obstructing traffic. You can see them, and at the end of the day, you just got to take it in, right? Something like that would be maybe foreseeable, but I'm not, So I'll leave it up to y'all, and then whenever you're done, we'll take the vote. If they want to put any conditions, we can do that, or Mr. Chair, it's up to you. Because there already was a motion by Commissioner Miller and second by Commissioner Mulvihill. Any other discussion?
So the way it's worded now, there's nearly no change, is there? No, we're not. In other words, right now, you didn't make any changes.
No, it's up to you. It's up to whatever you got.
Okay.
The problem is just the enforcement.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
we are changing all this so that we can make sure that people follow this, then how is that gonna happen?
I think.
People they're not upset about the signage, I don't think. It's about the fact that
Where it's
this one has
located.
3 and this one has 2 and this one's not leading and this one's in my way when I walk my dog. And that's the problem. It's not it.
Yeah. And I think to enforce it, there needs to be a clear understanding in our code that states exactly allowed or not. And because in the past, there was a section in our code that said we're going to allow it for 3 months, and then we're going to go back to see if it's allowed or not. That leads to well, is it allowed or is it not allowed? So a lot of times they use that. It's an excuse. I know that.
So what you're saying is if we pass it the way it's written, then now it's enforceable?
It will stand better being enforced. Yes, it will make it easier because it's more detailed. And then one of the public comments we had was it's black and white. Do we need to get the A-frame signs approved first before they're used, or could it just be a chalkboard that somebody can write on it? we already determined the size. Obviously, it's got to fit the environment, the standard, as a plaza thing. We're not going to put neon letters on it, obviously, so all those are things that we just want to make sure that we understood, right? So, good. All right. I'll go.
Well, it has to be, I don't know what it is. I don't remember which section of the sign plan, but code. But I have a concern about buildings. La Posta is an example. It's fronted on 3 roads. Well, there's not a front entry into Paragon, but Prince Bell, 2 sides. So it would seem like it'd be in the code that kind of addresses that kind of situation. I mean, that's not, it comes up. And remember when they remodeled in there and they have other signs up there for the parking, but I think we addressed that pretty well as far as the parking goes, because it's related to the structure and buildings, it's parking. But anyway, so it seemed like I would like to see some language in there about these special conditions, whether we'll have it in an exception part of the code or whether we just need to have the language in there.
Are you talking specifically about a building that faces multiple streets?
Yes, exactly. One business, single business that faces.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, it probably should be under, so somebody can't point to them and say, why did they get
They
it?
have excuses.
If they come over here for the special permits or whatever, then we grant it because it has to be, because it's historical, because whatever we granted from a post, I wasn't here, but it was already done. Then it's okay because we granted the special permit or special use or whatever. So every case, I'm on the one that tries to do the case by case because I don't know that person, and when they come, they can explain to me the reasons why, or we can.
So you're saying that that section that we already added in our code with the, as long as your request is justifiable, we could consider the request?
That's like asking for a variance, so.
Yeah, as long as they don't, I agree, as long as they don't have to go to a different set of hoops there, like special use. Now, as long as it's still brought up and still be able to consider, because there are many circumstances, you never know. I think there not might be many, but they could be. And I think, should they be allowed to have 2 language signs instead of 1? You should be able to have another additional 2 signs on that side of the wall, so it's a good point. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's easier, especially with the board of trustees, to have it black and white, yes or no, right? And they don't like the case by case because now they have to put their opinion and their interpretation into it because it's not easy, but sometimes you have to. It's just how it goes. So, okay. Anything else? You ready, Mr. Chair? All right. Commissioner Gallegos.
Yes, just with the removal of the 18.40 historic commercial language.
Yes. Okay. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Oviar?
Yes.
And Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Next item is B, which is recommended amendments to the Board of Trustees for the Town Code of 18.60.340, which is the law.
She doesn't even you gotta do a motion first. Okay, let's do a motion first in a second.
I make a motion that we accept recommendation to the Board of Trustees for the wall height on University Bowman to McDowell. Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Mulvihill, second by Commissioner Oviar. Discussion?
Okay, yeah, I just would like to get some clarification. So the height isn't from the person's yard, it's from the walkway, correct? So that all of the fences are gonna be the same from the walkway.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the public did not understand that, to be honest, but yes, particularly maybe, you know, the way we, you know, introduced it or
Maybe in hindsight, it'd be nice to
present,
put up
presented it.
actual
Yeah, everything's gonna be measured 6 feet from the walkway itself. So it stays all 6 feet, and their end could be 10 feet, you know, depending on what their height is at. Correct, correct. So everything will be, we're good on that part.
Yes.
So, and on that, the other lady that was here that didn't encompass, we need to extend it to everybody that was affected with that. But before I say that, I need to say, have we exhausted all the possibility of the state that is responsible for all of that to, because we're just trying to repair and try to make do with what we have, because they're not, have we given up? They're not gonna do anything to help us?
Not, I mean, when I say no, that we have not given up, you're asking two questions. It's still on the table. It still hasn't decided. It's still not an official no, but it's not very likely, right? But in the meantime, we just want to provide some form of, you know, protection or something that they can do until we figure out. Because even if the state doesn't do it, the mayor is more than willing to do it, right? To be able to, you know, protect those people and make them happy. He wants to do that, but then right now he's real good with going after grants, and right now is the time where you do all the grants. So he's up north trying to get, you know, funding for us, and part of that is for that walkway. So is it a definite no? No, it's not a definite no. We still want to put something there besides giving them the opportunity to raise their wall up to 6 feet.
Then maybe they can wait until we figure out, because then it's gonna be a cost, and then all of a sudden, that's a lot of money that we would have to raise to make sure that those people get what they, none of us would have thought that would have happened to them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awful.
It is.
Like, it's right there.
And I haven't walked it. I've driven by there, and I've seen the elevations, you know, between. And then it makes me think. You would think, what happens when it rains? I mean, when it rains, is all the water gonna run to their property? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that huge.
Yeah, yeah. It's just again, when it comes to the state and agency like that, they don't really need our permission to do those projects. I'll be just straight out honest. They'll inform the community to let them know what's going on, what's gonna. But all those decisions are made like up there. Like, but we do have input. We obviously, you know, if there is enough input or discontent, then you know, they can bend their ear if there is, you know, going through the proper channels. But I don't, like I said, I wasn't there for when that discussion, those meetings were happening. So it's hard for me to, I do feel bad for them though. I mean,
So at least can we extend it to wherever that other lady, so it's all, everything property, because it says south of University between Roman and McDowell, maybe we can make it.
well, yeah, sure we can. It was just, yeah.
And leaving them out.
I think it's a very good. I didn't realize that when she mentioned that during public comment. I'm like, you know, because when I proposed it to our attorney, because I mean, I obviously went out for his advice. He mentioned just be very specific from what to what point to what point. And then when I drove by there, I noticed that McDowell didn't have that elevation grade difference between the trail. So even if you say from university here to university there, it's still going to be the same. You know what I mean? Because their elevation difference is not at all on one certain areas, and some are going to be more different. So if you just go from university to that's I think Mesilla Avenida Mesilla to that one be the same thing.
But even if they weren't impacted, they could still make, even if they weren't as impacted as other people, they could still.
Sure,
look,
I get you.
They're still able to do what they need to do.
From McDowell to the canal, well, like before the canal.
Right now is from McDowell all the way up
What
to,
I'm saying is that McDowell, that little strip right there, it's already at 8 feet.
yeah.
So they don't
have quite the issue.
Yeah, they don't. Now beyond McDowell, on the next street over to 28 could be an issue, but that one little spot right past.
Yeah, that feels the same. But I mean, if you just go from university all the way to the canal, Doña Ana Canal, I mean, that would be, if you guys are okay with that? Mr. Chair?
I have a question. I know in our current, I don't think we really changed our current, we allow different material. And I'm a little concerned about that because I don't want to be so restricted, but remember some people comment and it says they need a noise barrier there. And that's what all the ones are on the interstates and even in expensive communities that against might be just a 2-lane road, but they still put up a retaining wall. And I think when you're going to go to, you and I talked about this a little bit, when you go to, if they're building it on their property, which they almost have to, from the standpoint of it's so close to where the road is, you wouldn't have any support if you build it, if the state builds it on their property. Because there's so much, there's no space there. So it seemed like if we want to get a sound barrier in there and what have you, I guess my question is, do we want to have a further restriction if people start building? I mean, it's just a catch-22. It's complicated. I mean, they start building their wall and then maybe the state comes back later and does a wall. We want to have that consistency as far as height and as far as material, I think.
Because, you know, we also need to look at the aesthetics because, you know, if you have like I'm sorry, but like a wooden and then chain link and then center block and then, you know, something pieced together,
Not gonna look good. It's a walkway.
But that's the way it is now. So we're asking them to redo because the state messed up? No. The state has to come and fix that.
It's
How are we gonna restrict people and what they want?
something that didn't cost. I brought that question to our attorney when I was seeking his wisdom, and he advised not to put restrictions on the material due to exactly what you just mentioned, because this is something that is a hardship that they have to go through because of, you know, the state putting it in that highway, and adding a hardship on top of that. People are not going to be able to afford a, 10-foot wall that now it's going to become probably a retaining wall, right? Because of all the material that is anything over 4 feet, right? Anything to 4 feet now it's got to be engineered. You know what I mean? So it's like, wow. So it's like where, so yeah, he advised like this, even though it makes perfect sense, but it's not advisable that we put those restrictions that stringent on it.
So as far as I'm reading the code, the revised revision, it's basically, we're just saying, if they want to build a wall, we're giving them permission of how to do it. Or in other words, how high it can
We're just measuring from outside.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not allowing them to go any 10 feet, because then everybody else is gonna be, well, how come they get to 10 feet? We're just looking at where it's being measured. And I think that should be consistent for just about all the zones. What's important is what's at street level. It should be ground zero and not their property, so. For now, again, I think that's our recommendation.
If there's still time for comment.
Yes, sir.
Great. So my question is, maybe my concern is just, I think number one is safety, because my concern is speeders and the vulnerability of residents along that corridor. I just want to make note that I think it's very important that we're critical about the type of material we're using as we move forward in building that wall to ensure that the safety of those residents.
Got it.
However it works, we know it's not going to come from DOT, right? But we
Yeah.
do know that we're going to move forward with this project.
Correct. Yeah. And then, like I said, we have had discussions with the mayor and even the DOT. And after they've done with that project and they release that, then we're going to be responsible for maintaining the landscape part of it. We can design the landscape part of it. We could put huge boulders, those kinds of things in certain areas, so it'll help. I don't know. It will be definitely engineered. It will definitely be insured, right? It will definitely be, do the best we can with finding funds to put that barrier wall there. So it's just unfortunate. And again, we weren't there. It just happened, and there aren't only so much we can do when it comes from the state and an agency like that. So, but sometimes residents just need to get it out, right? And they just want to be heard. And I think you all did a great job for that. So thank you. We ready for a vote? So the motion was Commissioner Mulvihill, motion number 1, and 2 was Commissioner Oviar. So We're gonna change, right, the condition. So what are those changes? If Ms. Commissioner Mulvihill, you can add that to your original motion? Amend?
To end at the canal on University.
Okay. That was the only changes, right? Okay, all right, so I'll go ahead and amend that motion for you in a second. Correct, to the canal. Mhm. Yes.
No.
From here? I thought that's what the motion.
To the canal.
There's two canal. There's a canal on this side over here too, right?
But we're thinking about the canal just past Zia Middle School going towards 28.
Oh, okay, okay. There's that lateral. Oh, okay.
Not towards the like from Bowman to.
Correct. So the motion was from the canal over here by the drain pond, right, to Bowman. Is that what you get? Is it different? No, you can go back and discuss it. That's okay.
The only reason I can say can't redo the whole thing like it's supposed, everything does impacted, which means from
Wherever that
Avenida
is,
Venecia all the way to the end of the university.
You don't want 6 foot, 8 foot tall.
About the university or at the interstate.
Part of that, remember that part of that from Bowman to the railroad tracks is university property. So you can't include that as part of that.
Because it's not even Venecia. Well, what we can include that, just whatever
Within
was,
Venecia.
whatever was affected by that construction of all those homes, because what if this one, just because it wasn't as impacted, maybe it was like that lady, maybe it was just a little bit impacted, but she wants to feel like she can do what she needs to do with her fence.
I just think that we're saying the same thing, right? It's still going to be 6 feet, right? It's just going to be, we say from Avenida de Mesilla all the way to the canal, or whatever, to Bowman, or to as far as our state line, our jurisdiction line is at, it's still 6 feet, no matter if you add that or only add it to the canal, it's still 6 feet. You're still looking at it from the highway, University Highway, you're still going to measure 6 feet. On the back end of that, on their property, might not be 6 feet, but we're looking at it 6 feet. So we're saying the same thing initially. To say, yeah, it's just because she mentioned extended, but she didn't see how far, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's up to. I mean, you made a motion, and whoever wants to second it can second it. If not, then we go back to another motion with changes. But she made a motion that amend her motion to change it from the canal which is closer to Avenida Mesilla all the way to Bowman. Do I get a second? Okay. First motion amended, second by Commissioner Miller. All right. After amendment. Any other discussion? No? All right, ready for a vote? Okay. Commissioner Gallegos?
With conditions, no.
I'm sorry?
No.
No? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar?
No.
Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, it is a tie, and you are the tiebreaker.
Okay, I need a little more clarification. I know we talked about it a lot, but
You want me to bring this up to on the camera, on the TV? Would that help?
Yeah, maybe.
So for clarification, Mr. Chair, the original language is the wall should be built between university between Bowman and McDowell. Was that the original?
Yes. So if you look at here, the original proposal when we talked about is from McDowell from here all the way to Bowman. This is where the majority of all of the change of grade due to the project is here. Now, if there is a very, very minimal past this, so what I'm saying is when you look at it on the side, it's still gonna be 6 feet, even if it's here or it's here, it's still gonna be measured 6 feet regardless. Right, now, Commissioner Mulvihill said there is a canal closer to I think it's this one here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So she wants to extend it
Laguna.
not to make that all the way to here to Bowman. Right? Now, Commissioner Albee, Commissioner Albee wants to extend it to, or as far as our jurisdiction goes, and I don't know, I don't think that one is part of the CIA.
It's near Sanford Road, right?
Yeah, so I think Bowman is the last, Bowman is the last one. So
Okay, so that.
it'll go from here all the way to here. That doesn't include the dirt, rain pond that's there. So, I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna put a 6-foot fence there. So again, it's the same thing. Now, the original one is for McDowell. The menu was, Commissioner Mulvihill is to move it all the way to here to include somebody in the public
Comment on.
That does make it better, don't it? I kind of like pointing.
Just as clarification, I thought that there was a second motion on the floor. My understanding was that there was another one with changes, but as like as written as is between Bowman.
There is a motion on the floor with addition.
With the addition, okay, so that's.
With the addition down to the.
Okay, that's, okay,
Yes.
good, okay, that's where I'm at.
So that's what we're voting on.
Just for future, if there's a first motion with the condition and you all guys don't agree, don't make a second motion, so that dies, and then so anybody else can make another motion, okay? All right, so there is a motion and there was a second, so now we're down to a vote, correct? Right, ready for that? All right. So we're gonna start over again, Commissioner Gallegos? It can be last?
So, Mr. Salazar, so we're trying to approve this amendment with the addition of more wall to extend where again to the here?
Yes. Laguna. Lateral.
Oh, okay.
This part right here, all the way to Bowman.
Yeah. See, that's what that's getting kind of weird because now we're adding more language if they want to.
Well, I mean, that's kind of understood.
Okay.
If they want to do it, they have that.
They have the ability to do that as is without any condition.
But not that far down.
If they wanted to do it down there, which we had a comment from the public
There was a
about
lady that
concern.
commented that her house wasn't included to the.
In the general, I think.
That's why we wanted to include the.
So if you want better, I'm gonna grab my little buddy here. I don't know how to move him. My mouse I will.
There it is. Yeah.
I know I fell in there. All right, so this one here is McDowell, right? And if you follow, obviously this is not an up-to-date picture, but or map. But if you follow it, anything from here this way is the proposed being. Now, Commissioner Mulvihill wants to include these homes all the way to the Mulvihill. All to include these one. But if you look at the grade in my eye, I thought it was the same grade. It looks the same. So if you include that part or if you don't include the part, it's still going to be 6 feet looking from the outside because that didn't. I mean, now as it is now, it might have been different, but I mean, when I went through there, I didn't see those changes.
These residents, if I may, these residents are not negatively impacted by, okay, and they're not below the surface of 101. I don't feel like they have the same issues that the original residents do. Yeah.
But someone did bring that up. Couple.
That's why I'm voting no, because I don't want any more additions to what we already have.
See, I that's why I wish they were still here for better clarification, because maybe they misunderstood my presentation, how others did, that they were worried about, the height of the fence. But I don't think there any homes from McDowell to Avenida Mesilla are still going to be 6 feet, just like the rest of them. Except that, obviously the grade's going to go up, but it's still going to be 6 feet. So again, right now, we do have a motion already with amendment. We have a second, so we're going to start with the vote. If you don't agree, then, you vote no. If it fails, then we'll do another vote, or.
We need to vote.
Right now, we're at the amendment point and the second, and then.
Eddie, just to be clear, that picture there.
Uh-huh.
Change the highway department.
Whenever I went through and they were working on it, I didn't see any changes. Now, I can't say that since a month ago, when I was putting this together, but yeah, the grade was already in, there was already pavement, so I assume it's not gonna get any higher.
But it wasn't a
No.
lot. Because they did put a walkway on that side.
So if it is a foot, then it should be consistent, again, just like she mentioned, so. It's up to y'all. So again, we're going for a vote, and we'll go from there.
With the condition.
Yes, with the condition that it goes all the way to the canal. I got a lot of scratchies here. Do-overs. All right, so for the amendment, Commissioner Mulvihill made with the amendment, and then Commissioner Miller made a second. All right, Commissioner Gallegos?
No.
Commissioner Miller? No. Commissioner Alviar?
No, until we.
Oh, no. And Commissioner Mulvihill was the yes. Mr. Chair, motion does not pass. With the amendment, we go back to the original motion now, which was Commissioner Mulvihill, and it was second by Commissioner Alviar, which stays from McDowell to Bowman. Any other discussion? No? All right. Commissioner Gallegos?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller? Yes. Commissioner Alviar? No. Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Yours was a no, right? All right, so now we're back to a tie? I'm sorry. It did pass. Okay, guys, I just wanted to wait. All right, 3-1, 3-1. Whew. I'll get him all. Mr. Chair, motion passed 3-1. Over here, we're like, God. Yes.
All right, going to the next one. Okay, the local register and it's on which property is Princess.
I make a motion that we accept the 2380s Calle de Principal for the registry.
Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Gallegos. I think I was going to bring back Miss Liana over here. Mulvihill, and second by Commissioner Gallegos, right? Liana, she's gonna handle these three nominations. In case there's any questions, you can ask her. She's all like, "You guys are crazy."
Okay. So now we're moving on.
So there is a motion already in the second to approve 2380. So right now we're waiting for discussion
Okay.
Any discussion, commissioners? All right, kind of easy. Ready for a vote?
He's trying to, okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, Commissioner Gallegos. This is for 2380 Calle Principal, yes. Okay. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar?
Yes.
Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Okay, and motion passes 4-0 for 2380 Calle Principal to be on the historic register. Okay, we're moving on to the 2600 Avenida de Mesilla, to be nominated into our historic register. And can I get a, thank you.
Second.
Any discussion?
Give the full description just real quick.
Okay, thank you. For the record, this would be to include, to recommend to the Board of Trustees to include 2600 Avenida de Mesilla into Messia's local historic registry. Okay. Commissioner Gallegos?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar?
Yes.
And Commissioner Mulvihill?
Yes.
Okay. And I did have, the motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Okay, and regarding the following, motion for discussion.
Yeah, I need it.
Okay,
Motion.
so we're moving on to,
You wanted to make a motion and then you go into discussion.
okay, thank you, sorry, it's been a while. Thank you. I'd like to recommend the Board of Trustees to include 2090 Snow Road in Messia's local historic registry. If you can have a motion to discuss, please.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. And so a few things were, a few things were noted that I'd like to make some comment on. I guess the first thing was Mr. Val, I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. He stated that I came on the site, thank you, that I came on site and took photos. I at no time did not come at any point uninvited. The lady, Aida Lopez, who was looking to purchase a property, we had mentioned that we were looking at it for historic designation. And she asked me what would be possible if it was historically, if it was nominated to our register. So I was being very frank with her, being very open and saying, I did not say this was not possible. I said it would be voted on. The commission is something that the commission would look at. And she asked me, what would it look like? I repeatedly told her anything interior is usually, is accepted when it's on our historic register. It's really the exterior. And so that, and any pictures that I had, if you didn't notice, they were all photos from Zillow. They're across every realtor site and you can find them anywhere. So I did not take those pictures. They're actually quite nice pictures and my camera wouldn't take that one. So I did not. One thing is I was also very intentional when choosing these buildings. My intention with that 2090 Snow, I drive up Calle del Norte almost every day. And I look over and I see that place, and so it sparked a lot of curiosity, And once I realized this property was up for sale, yes, it did compel me to further nominate this building and look into. I don't know the history of every building in this town, which is why I'm always urging for anyone who knows more to please give me that information. But this comes into a big question of thinking of community value versus individual value. And as we mentioned, and it's hard to say, yes, he did share his feelings of what was happening with me, with this property and his life. But I took it more as, I think about the building. Once I'm saying about historic preservation, the buildings cannot speak for themselves. And there's a very few people who speak for buildings around here. And this is one of the first buildings out in that rural farm
my full intention was to draw attention to that area. It's lacking, there's dilapidated buildings, the lands are endangered. So I think if we draw this attention, we can receive some support, if not only within the town, then other places within the town, which, I just emailed you regarding placing this area, the farmlands area, as an endangered landmark. And that will help to increase attention, perhaps get investors, some grants to help us rehabilitate that so that it's not just barren land and, a part of a dust storm out there. So, and it's a little sad because, this to come into this is the preservation has to start somewhere. There's a reason these farmlands are like that, and it's because no attention has really been drawn to them. It's always focused on the plaza, which is beautiful, and it's definitely an asset of ours, but so are those rural farmlands. It's a whole other set. And once I took those pictures, he was, I felt threatened and I was scared. This was the first case that, we're having somebody who's trying to sell the property. I didn't want it to look as I was trying to impede on the sale of this property. So I consulted with a historic preservation lawyer. I consulted with the Historic Preservation Division, and we even consulted with our own lawyer, and he said, go right ahead. This is very common. It's common because once we discuss when you're putting your property, when no consent is involved, there's a threat. People feel that their property is under, but we're already, we place boundaries on, there's regulations you have to have. Without order, there's chaos. And so this is also part of having, being part of a preservation. And as far as that whole district out there, and I have mentioned to you, I'm looking at placing that whole area as a historic district. As Mr. Chris Alexander mentioned, there's so many historic buildings out there. There has a story to tell in itself. So I think that whole area in the future, and yes, we are in desperate need of a preservation plan. And that was one of the first things I was pushing towards. And what happens with that is, and when you're when you're applying for the certified local government, they want to know whether you have a preservation plan or if you plan to have one. And that was what we had to mention, that it's in the works. The mayor did mention to me about this grant. We're trying, and that's, we're applying for the grant. So we're hoping that we can achieve this grant. But that's kind of up in the air. But regardless of CLG, local community, we can already have our local register. This is how we're going to protect these buildings. So adding on to these, to create our local register, if we do it for the CLG, that's when we're able to receive that funding for those structures. So the town can have our own local register regardless of any of that here. Yeah, and once again, I'm always asking for the public and anyone to please help, help this. There's a lot of buildings, and that's what makes this town unique. That's what makes Mesilla, is we know this is a historic town. We know it goes beyond the plaza. So let's bring that into attention, and let's, do something about it. There was also mentioned that, why not do this property as a commercial a contributing altered building. Palacios is a commercial building. This is not a commercial building that we're talking about. And it's been, it's already in the register, but it's been talk about it being, not being individually nominated. So that's why I looked at that place where this, once again, discussing out there in the rural farmlands, that's where it becomes a little bit, it's a different situation as opposed to Palacios Bar, because it's right on Avenida Mesilla, and it's already been a commercial functioning building, which is, putting up a wall of windows on an Adobe street view. It's no longer, yes, it's no longer, we can't identify it as what it is there. But yes. Oh, yes, please.
I have like three or four questions. What if they choose, can they choose to decline the nomination?
Actually, it is not. The only, thank you, that was another thing, is to claim economic hardship. to get their building nominated, that's not viable. It has to be once the property's already nominated as a historic, then the owner of that property, they're able to state, I can maintain the historic quality, and that's not what Mr. Knopp is saying. He's saying he doesn't want it, but that's actually because it's a public policy that's stated in our code that I read for 1833 0.040. It's a public policy. It's not for individual purview. It's really what is as an asset to the town, not to him individually.
So then my second question is, and you just addressed it, is that because it's a home or a residence, they cannot make any modifications to the barn. Is that what you're saying? On the outside, like they can't put windows and doors.
Because it's not commercial.
Correct, yes. Once it's nominated, they're not able to put windows out the door, which is what I mentioned to her. But I said anything inside you're able to do whatever. I even offered for her to make an addition. You're able to make an addition if you want. The property, I understand this property, if you don't, it's almost $800,000. And so I understand that. But if I believe if the buyer has that flexibility, there's further flexibility that's also available to that. And it doesn't mean, it's the barn in particular. And once again, all of those photos were taken from Realtor site.
Any other?
So, and I think you already touched on this too, but the town of Mesilla cannot be held liable if the sale falls through because of this.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, no. This is very common in historic preservation. It's that this is the rocky road. This is really where the line gets drawn when I wish I had something to compare it to right now, but it's really any one structure. It resides within our jurisdiction. And according to the Historic District and Landmarks Act, we have full constitutional rights to be able to declare this as our local, as on our local register, as a historic landmark.
I can add to that. So it's all based on the timing, isn't it? I mean, they could go ahead and make the sale, and these people can accept the sale before it gets on the register, correct?
Yeah, and I'll be frank.
Yeah.
We kind of postponed it by default. It so happened, and not that we were planning on it. We had conversations almost a month or so ago. We were awaiting the plans because we didn't want it to be seeming that we're trying to fight anybody or that we're creating this, let me sneak this in first before. Yeah, but this is what it is right now. We've had it, as we spoke, we had this workshop made, way before, and it's been in the works. So it's.
Any other comments, commissioners?
I realize that the owner has hardship selling the property because of, its history and it's an old farm. It's not usable anymore. It cannot be utilized. So we just have a barn, and so I feel the burden of the owner trying to sell the barn because you can't change the barn. So it's just kind of like, it just rubs me the wrong way because like Mr. Chairman, you said, like, if, maybe, 2 weeks from now, if it's not on the registry for Mesilla and he sells it, and then it's allowed, but then we lose a piece of our history at the same time too.
It's tough. It is. Yeah. I had a lot of emotional distress over this. I'm not this kind of cutthroat kind of person. I have a lot of feelings, and I really took it through, but I also have my job to do. And I know part of this and that building, if you take that we all see this building. If you're turning onto snow, it has become part of our landscape, the way it is now. And I was very flexible with her. She said, if she wanted to remove even the portales out there, I said, yes, you can remove that portal. Even though it seems by the root growth that was there for quite some time. But yeah, but it's not, but the entire building is, I've never seen, according to me, at my knowledge, I haven't seen any building that parallels that architecture. Very unique and a treasure, a real treasure here in the town. So it would be a shame to see it altered.
I think this is the first, I mean, we just got this nominate and then wow.
This is hard.
It's right there. But I just want to say that I wish that our property, if we had known, we would have preserved it. But there are so many changes that when we went to the national board, it said it's too many changes. You didn't keep the original. So now all that history is just us knowing about it.
Yeah.
Nobody else or whoever remembers that big ranch and how it was and everything. All that was preserved with the blacksmith shop and all that. But if we had known, I would have been there to do it. But we're like, oh, just a little bit here. We gotta support the laws. We gotta do this to make it livable. But without thinking, we could have done other things to preserve. So
And I totally understand. This is so new to you as commissioners, and for me to try, and which my full intent is just to really try to educate and give you the background of how things, but it's through experience we learn, but I also know precedents get set, and then people can easily make comparisons, and that's what makes it most difficult.
Okay. All right. No more comments. We're ready for a vote.
Okay, and we're gonna vote here to recommend the Board of Trustees to include 2090 Snow Road in Messia's local historic registry. And I'll start with Commissioner Gallegos,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
No.
Commissioner Mulvihill,
no.
Commissioner Aviad,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Walkinshaw.
I'm going to say yes.
Motion passes 3-2 to put and to include 2090 Snow Road on Messia's local historic registry. All right. Thank you, commissioners.
All right, now we're almost done. We're looking at letter F. It's PZH&C case 062088 at 2872 Coyote Bruno, submitted by Jeffrey for us, you've seen before, requesting approval to place a pre-manufactured wooden shed on the property at zone.
Move to approve PZHAC case 062088.
First motion by Commissioner Gallegos, second by Commissioner Mulvihill. Yes, Laura. Any discussion? First of all, I'm sorry. This is case number 062088, 2872 Calle San Albino, was submitted by Jeffrey Burras, requesting approval to buy and place a temporary storage shed on property. Historical residential is the zone. Background analysis: Mr. Burras recently applied for a shed and was denied due to the color and design and of the proposed shed. Mr. Burras has submitted a new application for a shed with a different color. Previous color was blue and proposed color is now brown. Picture of the shed included in the packet. The shed will be placed on asphalt and in the same location as previously requested. A site plan has been submitted to show the placement. The design of the shed is the same as the previous one. There are other sheds similar in the area. Department comments, Messiah Town Code 1835-060B, canopies and accessory structures in the rear yard shall not be more than 50% of the required area and can be set back 3 feet from the side of a rear yard if they are made of fire-resistant materials. Any temporary structure can be set back 3 feet from the side or rear yard if they are made, again, with fire-resistant material. I don't know why it said that twice, but it did. Mesilla Town Code 1835.060C3, any structure within a historical residential shall be architecturally similar to dwellings or structures in a development zone immediately adjacent, which is block radius as discussed in chapter 1833, historic preservation, to the property and shall not exceed 15 feet in height, including parapets. Mesilla Town Code 1835.060D, yards for all new buildings, front, side, and rear yard must be at least 7 feet from the property line. Even though this is a temporary building or shed, as you mentioned, it could be within 3 feet within the setback as long as it's fire-resistant material. Proof of ownership, site plan, and picture of the shed. Okay, so we did see this before, case before. There was it was denied due to the color and the design of the structure. This is now a different color. The design is similar, and one of the reasons why it is back is because one of the commissioners mentioned that there was a misunderstanding and they wanted to reevaluate the request if the applicant decided to reapply. So I stand by. Actually, I think the motion was already set. Okay, yeah, I stand by for any questions and discussion.
Motion to approve case 062088 on Cayuga.
Yeah, there was already a motion. Commissioner Gallego was a Commissioner Mulvihill with a second. Any discussion? Yeah, I kind of didn't say that right. My bad.
Okay.
Any
I'd just like to make one comment because I voted no on this before, and having thought about it, it's almost impossible to find a shed that's architecturally similar to our basic ethos of the town. So I don't know how we can hold them to that standard when you can't go out and buy what we're asking you to buy.
And this is custom made, right? So that's even more. But yeah, good point.
Any other comments? All right, ready for
Ready for a vote?
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Gallegos.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar.
Yes.
Commissioner Mulvihill.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, motion passes 4-0.
The last. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Case number 062090, zone commercial historical. But it's at 2299 Guadalupe, submitted by the diocese, Las Cruces, and it's adding two windows to the parish hall.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. 062090.
Oh, we need a motion.
Yeah, let me just get a recap here real quick. Just give a little bit of background and then we'll jump on that. 2290 Calle de Guadalupe, submitted by the Catholic Diocese of Las Cruces. Historic commercial is a zone applicant is looking to add two windows to Parish Hall. Parish Hall is looking to add two stained glass windows depicting biblical stories to their parish hall. They will be installed one on each side of the glass cross that is already in place and both measured 5 feet by 4 feet. This building itself is not historical, however, it is in the historic district. It was a later addition to the main building. The contractor, Nova Builders, will also repair any stucco affected as needed. They are licensed contractors within the town of Mesilla. Staff recommends approval. Application, contractors, agreement, proof of ownership, photo of stained glass, for example, of the windows as well. I did also give you a copy of the application where the review party did sign all that, so that should be in your packet. Other than that, I stand by for questions. Now we need a motion.
Oh, I move to accept PZHAC case 062090.
Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Miller, second motion by Commissioner Gallegos.
Comments?
I got questions. Just one second. I'm looking at the 5x4 frames that the windows are going to be installed on the parish hall. But I noticed only one depiction of what's going to be installed. Are there going to be two of the same, or are going to be?
I think that one was just a picture of an example of what's gonna, the other one, they didn't mention what exactly was gonna be on the other.
Oh, so we don't know.
No, we don't know what the second, it was another biblical.
And it's gonna be stained glass in the same size. Good questions.
Yeah, I had a question. I mean, we say it's a window, and of course it shows here an existing window that's operable. So my assumption is it's going to be a stained glass, just like in the church, where it's not operable windows.
Correct.
The whole scene, stained glass is 4x5. Correct.
Yeah, he's not gonna be able to open it and climb out or vice versa.
Didn't think so.
I can ask Commissioner, I can ask, now you got me thinking. I can ask if he has another picture, I'd be kind of curious to know what's gonna be on the other side.
I was just thinking that you're going to have this on one side and then facing the opposite.
Yeah, right.
No, it's gonna be a different design, from my understanding.
I do stained glass.
Another skill.
All right.
Stevie's got a question or comment. I thought you just raised your hand. No? Oh, my sorry.
Any other comments? Doesn't sound like it.
Good. All right, Commissioner Gallegos?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar?
Yes.
Commissioner Mohill?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, motion passes 4-0.
Any short comments from the commissioner?
Oh my, I have a whole list of this. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. The only comment that I have, we do have a cleanup event coming up. I did also invite the Board of Trustees, and I am willing to bet that we're gonna have more people from the P and Z there and the Board of Trustees, right? So anyway, you are available. I understand if you're not, but you are available. They are gonna have a cleanup on the February 21st, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm personally gonna be there. I'm sure Liana, if she's available, she's gonna be there as well. So, Mr. Maestro, you're also more than happy to attend if you on your own time. Obviously, you're not getting paid for it. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Oh, you have a comment?
Just quickly, sorry. We have, I had mentioned the Adobe panel discussion, and their update is, it's actually tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. I know I never got to sending you the full details because she had just changed the flyer for that, but I'll send them, if you're free tomorrow at 6 p.m., it's at the WIA building, but I'll be sure to email that to you first thing in the morning, so that way if you care to attend, it's, yeah, I'll have all that information there.
So it's a panel on historic structures, Adobe structures.
Adobe structures, and I'll be part of the panel along with other people who specialize in Adobe work, and they'll be able to just.
Pat Taylor be-
Yes, he actually will be there as well. So that's all. Thank you very much. That's all.
I don't think I need permission to adjourn.
Anybody wants to go home, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody doesn't, say nay. No? All right, let's go home. Thank you. I know it was a little long, but